Miles, hey, congratulations on your new film, Trust.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
We love these type of thrillers. I mean, this was edge of your seat type of thriller, but tell us first is how you got involved onto this project.
It's such a unique backstory, but I feel like I think most movies are, it's never just like a simple formula. I was actually playing pro hockey in New Jersey for the New Jersey Devils organization. But I'll go back a little bit before that. It was COVID, and I knew I wanted to transition from an athlete into being a producer. I was trying to learn how to do it, and basically everyone's advice was start reading as many scripts as you can. So I have agent friends sending me scripts from the blacklist. My dad sending me scripts that he didn't want to read that were submitted to him as like an exercise for me. So I played that hockey season and then I retire after that. I start my production company. I ended up actually optioning a book, a comic book, and two other scripts, and then thought to myself, wait, what about that random script I read during COVID? And that is basically the origin story.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so what about this story particularly with Trust that kind of drew you in that you said, you know what, this makes it a perfect on screen.
I felt like for the first film that I do, especially with this Paramount deal coming from the producers of Saw and Twisted Pictures, I wanted to try and do something a little bit different from what's been done before. I wanted to do something with a powerful message, something that isn't just your everyday, not that Saw is at all, it's a very smart movie, but that isn't a slasher or your stereotypical horror. I wanted to try and try something different, go more the thriller route, have a powerful message behind it, and kind of put some layers into the story that makes it like a real film that people will leave. Obviously, whether you're scared, you're nervous, you're laughing, you're feeling something, but you're also, yeah, being moved a little bit by what we're talking about.
So, in order for a film like this to work, and I'm actually very impressed since this was your first project, you have to assemble a team, and you did assemble a very notable team with notable names. So who did you recruited first to this project?
Well, in a sense, I was the one that was recruited first because my dad, as well as Dan Hefner and Katura Keston with Twisted Pictures, have been making movies for a long time. But, with the lineage, they brought me in and welcomed me with open arms. And then another funny story, when I stopped playing hockey, I moved to LA, I started my production company, and I kind of felt a bit stagnant, just kind of sitting at home, trying to take meetings and whatever. So I ended up taking an internship at Luber Rockland. So I interned there and was doing some script coverage and kind of learning about the business and just being there with the managers. And then after a bit, I started telling everyone that, I'm making my movies right now. And then Lena Rockland, who's obviously the boss of the company, was like, come in my office, stop interning for the other managers. So I went in her office and we started basically putting this thing together where she helped me find Carlson. And we looked at some other directors before Carlson. And then with Carlson, I was like, she's the one. She was a child actress as well. She's obviously a woman, which helps shooting such a vulnerable subject. And also, yeah, it's still vulnerable for the action too of Sophie being trapped. And with Carlson, she brought in Justin Roberts and Luke Matthews, or sorry, Justin Matthews, Luke Roberts, who did the buffing on her script for a film called Upgraded. They added some comedy in there. They made some twists and turns that made it better. And then from then, I kind of just worked with Carlson through everything. And then obviously it was with Carlson that we ended up deciding with my dad and everyone else to go with Sophie Turner. And when she said yes, we were like, let's get this thing going.
Yeah, I found the decision to go with Carlson very unique. I didn't see the movie Upgrade, but I did actually see her first movie, Blazing World.
I loved it.
And you could tell her style of because Blazing World was much more of a direct horror, and this was a thriller, and you could tell how she has matured quite a bit, for direction.
I felt with Carlson it was two things. It was I loved Upgraded, and I guess it was just like a gut instinct for us, but I feel like doing a rom-com, especially today's day and age, is very hard to do. And I loved her rom-com, but her bigger passion lies in the thriller horror space. And I was just like, if she can do that, and she did Blazing World before, and she really like loved our topic and she loved the story, I was like, she's the perfect person for this. So I thought,
Now,
yeah. So
yeah.
I was going to say quick, I thought with the combination of her knowing how to do that and us obviously with our Twisted Pictures knowing how to make things scary, it felt like a perfect combination.
And it helps quite a bit for her being a child actress to relate to the character quite so she gets that sense of direction,
Yeah,
right?
and Sophie too, of course. That was, part of Sophie's thing. So
Most excellent. So how did Sophie got on board? Did you recruited her or she had to go through an audition process too?
no, we did not make Sophie audition. We we just, we were looking. It's funny, we were looking at, Dream List. Originally in the script, it was first called Breathe, and the actress was a bit older, and then we changed some things around to make her a bit younger. And Sophie was right there at the top of our list, and we went out to. Yeah, I mean, it sounds funny, but we just kind of went out to her and she responded to the material. Like she loved the script, she loved the character. I felt like maybe she had some things going on in her personal life, whether it be, people on the internet calling her a bad mother, which she's the best mother I've ever seen, It's just she doesn't post her kids, so everyone's like, "Oh, she's, this crazy girl," but she's literally the best mother ever. So I think the combination of this being an actress who's pregnant, who's a child actress, and Sophie in real life was going through a divorce at the time, and I think she just felt like she needed to go tell this story and be who she was.
Now, for a film like this, as a getaway, you have to find that perfect location.
Mhm.
Tell us about this wonderful, huge house, which
Oh,
I'm assuming it's probably not on the PCH.
it is not in the PCH. It's in the mountains, about an hour and a half outside of Mexico City. Definitely a trek from the hotel every morning to go there by 7 in the morning, but you're going up these like winding like roads where it's like a safari, But so we looked at probably 4 or 5 places. Actually, this was unique because we changed the script around to be able to play into the attic that this house had. It had a really beautiful attic. Originally, the story was just one floor, like your standard kind of cabin. But we loved it. We loved the areas outside of the house. We loved the space we had to play with. And it was just so stunning. We were like, we got to go with this. So basically, it's just, I don't really want to spoil anything. I don't know when you're posting this, but I just any scenes that had to do with her leaving her bedroom originally were just kind of living room, but we ended up playing into this attic vibe, which was so stunning and it worked perfectly for the ending of the movie.
Well, the house is actually beautiful. Can you talk about recreating some of the production sets for the rooms? Because obviously, as
Mhm.
a thriller, bad things do happen.
Yes, bad things happen. So what we did was we did everything outside of the bedroom and that boiler like furnace room that Sophie ends up being in for a little while. We did everything else, the externals, the living room, everything else at that cabin. And then we actually, in our warehouse in Mexico City, built her bedroom and we built that room so that, well, obviously we have room to play with the blood, we have room to play with the water and all those things without, ruining a nice house in the hills out there. Yeah.
Now we talked a little bit about your cast, but I do love the selection of the cast because the fact is you did bring in some good notables names
Yeah.
into this, but I have to ask, whose dog is it? Because that is one well-disciplined acting dog.
The dog's name is Pinga, and we actually, if you talk auditions, we have probably had the most dog auditions out of any role in the film. We had a couple well-trained dogs, but we felt like Pinga was the cutest, and then she just like exceeded expectations. Like everything she did was perfect, along from like she's limping on one leg, she's running at the right time, sniffing the right times, but she had this trainer down there who didn't speak English, and he was just like he was so dialed in and he had this dog like perfect. But then when she was kind of like relaxed, she would cuddle with us and hang out. She was great.
Now, it sounded like you have a terrific experience on this. So tell us what overall, how was this first producing project for yourself?
I think it might have ruined the rest of the projects I'm going to do because it was so great. like they're all like this. This is the best. But no, it's just you know what? It's we had such a great team. The crew down in Mexico City was unbelievable. Our team obviously is kind of a well-oiled machine with the addition of me. They know what they're doing. Carlson was a dream to work with. And then if you look at our cast, there were some great names in there. But Sophie being number one on the call sheet, she just was like the dream person to work with. So everyone below her kind of followed suit, and it just became this like really fun, tight knit group of people down there having fun while also making a movie.
Now, not to point fingers or anything like that. Do you feel that a lot of the pieces came together and kind of made you a little bit spoiled because like a lot of people start off like really indie, like
Yeah.
very low budget. But in
Yeah.
in this case, I want to say everything fit perfectly together because you can't tell if in any ways this was a low budget type of independent film.
Well, that was our goal. And also, you know what, like I have to be so honest that like I'm incredibly fortunate to be put in this position. Like, if I was a filmmaker that was starting out, just got out of film school, I would not have the advantages that I have from, being able to obviously work with my dad and produce with him and his company. But they know what they're doing and they just basically put me in a position to succeed. Casting was tough. Like, it's like it wasn't easy. We got down to the wire when we had our time. But it's such a unique process because you look at some people and then you look at our cast and you watch the movie and you can't even imagine anyone else in those roles that we ended up filling. So it like you said, it worked out perfectly. And I know that the next movie or the one after that I make, there will be bigger hiccups or speed bumps on the way. But I think I learned a lot, and I also learned, even just from the everyday nuances of how to handle those things a little bit better this time around.
You mentioned your father several times. Did he influence you to be in Hollywood, for the next step of your career, your chapter of your life?
Yes and no. I think my mom has a big part to do with that too, because my mom growing up was a really big talent agent. So I grew up while being a hockey player, little kid living in LA, dreaming of being a hockey player while watching my dad produce at the time Two and a Half Men and Saw, and my mom being an agent for some of the biggest names in the business. So I think I was just so submersed in the industry without even realizing that when I went off to play hockey wherever I was always just fascinated with film. I'm watching a movie every day. I'm reading, I'm keeping up with everything that's going on in the business. And I think it just came naturally. There was no nudge to do it. It just was always something I had a really big passion for that I always knew I wanted to do when I was ready to do it.
How does one transition from hockey to Hollywood? I mean, sports and entertainment these things are two entirely different things.
I can give you the cliche answers that you learn how to work hard and you implement them, but the truth is it wasn't easy. Like there was days where I was like, what am I doing? But it's just I just tried to keep the faith and keep moving forward and just meet with as many good people as I can. I think that was the best thing in the beginning was just taking as many meetings as I can, not acting like I know anything, but on the opposite, being like, I have a passion for this and I want to make it happen, but I'm new and whatever. And that's why I took that internship. And the internship is really what led to me being able to, get Carlson and then ultimately make this first movie. And then from then on, as you know, in the industry, once you kind of get the pieces together and you start making one, the rest of them are kind of falling into place now that people have the trust that we can make good movies.
Now, tell us about this production company. I'm assuming you teamed up with your father to produce more and more movies down the road.
Kind of. So my production company is called Coolest Productions, just a little play on my last name. But his is just, he owns Twisted Pictures. So I'm basically umbrellaed under him. He's got this 10 picture deal at Paramount with Republic Pictures. And it works perfectly because he's kind of tasked me with finding these projects. And he doesn't like all the ones I find. Obviously, he loved the trust, but so we go back and forth. We have Katura Keston and Dan Hefner also, who are our president and our VP. And I just kind of do the groundwork and I find stuff and we talk about it and we have some really cool stuff lined up that we're going to be making after this. But obviously one day I'll be making my own ones, and I'll be kind of venturing out. I think one day I'd love to venture out of genre into some other spaces, but for now I love where I'm at and I'm just going to keep working hard to make as many great things as I can while I have this opportunity.
So, what is the mission of your production company? What kind of genres that you guys are actually focused on?
So right now it's clearly, thriller horror. It's coming from the producers of Saw. It's kind of what we're signed up to do from Paramount. And I really love the space. I think it's becoming more and more, I don't know how to say better because better is the wrong word because even before I was alive, there were some of the best horrors ever made. But it's becoming a little bit, I'd say the genres are blending a bit. And I love that idea. I love incorporating a bit of supernatural stuff into this space, some sci-fi, whatever it may be. And I have some cool projects to make with that. I think one day when I'm done with these, look, hopefully I make good enough ones that I can become, make a saw and you make second and thirds and fourths. But I think I just really am taking it day by day, trying to just focus on each project I'm doing and tell the best stories I can. That's really it. And then, if it leads me one path or down one path or the other, I'll take that when it comes.
Wonderful. Now,
Mhm.
Miles, can you tease us of some of the upcoming projects that you do that you can talk about?
Yeah, you know what? Like we have some stuff public knowledge out there of stuff that we're working on, but I will say the best teaser I can say is that the next film I do is going to be really, really scary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you personally enjoy this genre of the
Yeah.
thriller horror?
Yeah, I think as a storyteller, you want people to feel something, and I think sometimes in other genres it's harder to do. And this, if you do it right, they're definitely feeling what you're setting out for them to feel. And I love that.
You know what? I love that too. Well, Miles, I've taken a lot of your time
Oh,
already.
don't worry.
So I'm going to wrap it up with one hopefully a good question here because you're in this Hollywood space now and you were in the sports
Mhm.
space and just like the character in Trust, which is a tougher arena to actually balance in the public eye to you?
Oh, I don't know. I think you know what? I think I just sit right on the cusp. As a hockey player, you're not in too much of the public eye, and I think as a producer, you're not really either. If I was an actor or I was a star NBA player, that's one thing. But I think I just sit on the cusp of trying to. It's an interesting question. I'd try to look. I'll never be the guy that walks into a grocery store and someone's like, "Hey," so I don't have to worry about that. But I think it's just trying to. You just try and do the right things and work as hard as you can that your peers are impressed with the work you put in. That's basically it. But I don't think I'll ever be a big public eye guy.
You know what? Your next chapter has just actually started. So if
Okay. So we'll see.
so I'm pretty sure we'll get to a chance to speak again down the road on your
I
future
can't wait.
projects.
Thank you so much.